Is Sui the real Solana killer as Sui overtakes the Solana network in a big way? Should you be looking at accumulating and buying Sui? And what does the future hold for the Sui coin and the ecosystem? What are some of the exciting things happening? We're going to have that discussion. Also, Magic Internet Money joins us to talk about some of the hottest trending coins. We're going to take a look at a Sui chart. We're going to take a look at a Solana chart. Might even take a look at some other charts. Should be pretty good there with Magic, as it always is. Also, Jupiter, the leading DEX on Solana, is officially live on mobile. Will they be the #1 DEX in all of crypto in 2025? We also have some news regarding the FTX bankruptcy, and also government. Are they about to sell almost 70,000 Bitcoin worth $4.5 billion? What should you do? Should you buy? Should you sell? Should you hodl? We'll talk about that and much, much more in today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel, where we take old, boring, and stale co-hosts and transform them into fun and entertaining co-hosts.
Transforming again, huh? You transform a lot.
You.
Oh, me.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, you always have something to say about it.
I do, man.
Yeah, do you think
Well, I
about
mean,
that?
who else am I supposed to talk to? Rocco, how you doing?
You're a bird.
Doing great.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Maybe get a girlfriend.
You know, maybe I should just stay single.
Yeah, for sure.
Good life.
Yeah, it's great.
Good life. No,
Keep bothering.
good life, no wife. You know.
I don't know,
No drama.
actually.
Drama free, baby.
I don't know.
Drama free.
Rocco, we need to maybe find him the right person.
Can I just enjoy being single for a while? Everyone always
Well, the
trying
problem
to,
is
everyone always trying to hook me up.
No, because it's bleeding in our lives.
Why?
It's bleeding in
Because-
our life.
You're over here calling me stale and this and that. You have nothing better to do than sit there and talk about me and think about me all the time.
I don't think about you, bro. Not in the slightest.
Anyway,
Oh, there was
Bitcoin,
old-
62,400. What the hell is going on? I thought we were going to 65.
wow, you thought wrong again. Is 90K still on the table for September? You know what it is? I think the answer is pretty clear. What's
Is it the
happening.
government?
It's the government. Yeah. Guys, at the end of the day, people will always try to get ahead of what they expect the markets to do. And now people are expecting the U.S. government to sell $4.38 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, people just read headlines. They see posts on X and says government got approval from the Supreme Court to sell 69,300 Bitcoin, but they don't really read the fine print. Well, is it ready tomorrow, or can they sell it now? You read a headline of, they sent the money to Coinbase custody, but not understanding and knowing that you guys got to remember the U.S. Marshals, who are the ones that control the buying and selling of these, right? When the government says we want to sell it, they're the ones that execute it. Also, though, if you just in case you forgot, they had a deal with Coinbase Prime to custody the crypto, to custody the Bitcoin. And so here's the article, and we'll just kind of jump in there since we were talking about it. Supreme Court paves the way for the sale of $4.38 billion worth of Silk Road Bitcoin. So Bitcoin that was seized back in, 2013? The Supreme Court announced on Monday that had denied a certiorari, sounds like an Italian word that I'm probably butchering, has denied a petition, a Supreme Court appeal in a case closely watched by the crypto community that is set to determine the fate of 69,000 Bitcoin seized by law enforcement in November of 2020. And this is I believe I had a post about this right here. So on October 7th, the Supreme Court declined to hear the case about the $4.3 billion in seized Bitcoin from Silk Road, giving the government full control over the seized funds. The last time the U.S. government moved Bitcoin was 2 months ago when it moved around 30,000 Bitcoin, of which 10,000 was transferred to Coinbase Prime. The U.S. government currently holds 203,239 BTC, worth approximately $12.63 billion, of which 69,000 related to Silk Road's individual X has remained untouched in wallet, that one, for 4 years. Now, where was that article I had? Right here. I think I had some stuff highlighted. There you go. Now that the Supreme Court has declined to hear the case, the lower court's ruling will likely prevail, meaning that few obstacles remain in the way of liquidating the $4.38 billion stash of Bitcoin. While it will certainly take a string of bureaucratic formalities for the U.S. Marshals Service to start the auction, a portion of Bitcoin worth some $2.6 billion has already been transferred to the Coinbase Prime Deposit wallet, which may indicate that the sale may start soon. On the other hand, it's known that the exchange has a custody deal with the regulators, so it might as well just hold the asset on behalf of the Marshals Service. So people are like, oh my God, they're going to sell. It's a lot of BTC, 69,000. Let me try to get ahead of it, get a better entry at a cheaper price. I think that's partly why we're seeing the sell-off.
Why can't y'all just hodl, man? Y'all seized this thing back in 2013.
The funny thing is they're trading this commodity for toilet paper that they print anyways.
Yeah. It's all about, but here's the thing, like you can print, but I mean, at the end of the day, like if let's just say you don't care about Bitcoin, right? And you're saying, hey, we're sending X amount of dollars to Lebanon. We're going to send $2 billion to Lebanon, right? You can sit here and have that press release, but it hits different if you're like, hey, we sold some Bitcoin here. We sent this money here, covering it up. Now we're not printing, guys. Like, well, I think that's what.
4.3 billion goes a long way.
At the end of the day, you can always go back to you can always print money, right? Well, why do we pay taxes? We can print money. Oh, well, why do we have corporate tax? We could print money. Oh, why would they sell Bitcoin? They could print money. Like, you can always go back to that argument. But the reality of it is that you still need to generate money as an economy, right? You can hypothetically just print everything and just say, F it. We don't need to collect a single dollar. We'll just keep printing until the whole thing collapses. I think the thing is going to collapse anyways at some point. It's no shock that inflation just keeps going up and never reverses. So, I mean, we're always going to have inflation. And it's very simple reason why it's there. It's because we print more money routinely. And we don't pay down our debts. And so, at the end of the day, like, you've held it this long, right? You said 2013 is when they acquired the Silk Road, right?
2020.
2020?
The Bitcoin they're trying to sell was from 2020. Oh, okay. But that Bitcoin was from Silk Road in 2013.
Yeah, but the last time it moved was in 2020. I don't think they had the seizure at that time because Silk Road has been closed for so long. It's not like they closed it in 2020, right? It's been, I think Silk Road.
It was confiscated from individual X from Silk Road. So,
do you know what date that was? Anyways, they've been holding on to that Bitcoin for so long, and they've seen the value appreciate.
But they've had to hold it on.
That's what I'm not saying that they did it by choice. Oh, okay. I'm just saying that they've held it for so long, and someone with some kind of intelligence is gonna be like, hey, you know what? We got this thing. It was worth $30 million, or it was worth $300 million. Now it's worth how many billions? And so, at some point, you got to kind of look at the numbers and be like, maybe we shouldn't sell this thing. You know what? Like,
you should run for office, man. If you would
put a one in the chat if you want to see Big Rob run for office.
I was going to say, if you would vote for Rob as Secretary of Treasury,
that was a mistake.
Secretary, put a one in the chat.
I encourage him.
Wait.
Do not,
No, Rocco, that'll put his mind on spending money on his campaign.
So, here's a funny story.
Okay,
here's a funny story, right? If y'all want to know how this whole thing started, right?
Oh, is it a story time?
Yeah, story. Do we still got the story time button? Does that thing still exist? Hold on, let's see.
Only the OGs of the chat will remember this. There you go. Yeah.
There it is. Story time with Big Rob. Yeah, that's right, baby. So, once upon a time, Big Rob was a young pup, and I had small aspirations of streaming. I thought for a little bit. This camera's not even on, dude. And I thought for a while, I was like, you know what? I like streaming video games. I'm good at playing video games. And I looked at my wife one day, and we were watching YouTube, not gonna name any. I'm not gonna put any channels on blast. But I was watching some YouTube channel about crypto, and I was like, man, this is so trash, bro. I'm like, this is old, boring, and stale information. And I was like, I can repackage this thing up in a fun and sexy way. And I didn't actually say that, but essentially, I was looking at my then wife, and I was like, I could do a way better job. This is so bad. And she looks at me and she's all like, well, why don't you do it? And I said, hold on. Are you telling me? She was like, yeah, if you think you do a better job, do it. And I was like, you know what that means, right? I was like, I go all in and I don't stop. And then next thing you know, I'm obsessive with it. And then, well, lo and behold, a couple $1 million later, studio, 3 years, whatever it is. And here we are in the studio. And, well, just like I said to her, now divorced. So there you go. Big Rob goes all in on his ideas. So do not test me when it comes to running for office, because I will go all in. There will be campaign flyers. I will have billboards out here. Just let you know. Welcome back, David.
Yeah, we have a Rocco. Throw on the studio camera quick. We have these beautiful white chairs there. You see it right there.
They can't see it.
Yeah, they can see a semblance of it.
Yeah.
Right? And
I know what they look like. Ashley
good.
sits in them all the time.
They're good for story time. You know,
Okay,
so
cool.
yeah.
So that
Robin's wife, thank you for bankrupting my.
The first person I called, though, as soon as I was done with that conversation, is I called David and I was like, "Hey man, you trying to start a YouTube channel or what, bro?"
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
The rest is history, bro.
And the rest, bank accounts are zero. Now, I do want to. I want to talk about what the theme of today's show is, right? So if you see the thumbnail, move over Solana, and the title of today's show was Sui overtakes Solana in a pretty big way. And well, what is one measure of a blockchain's health, or whether a blockchain is gaining traction or it's even viable, as you look at transactions, TPS, TVL, well, pick whichever one. But I think the main one is transactions. Like, are people using it? What kind of revenue is paid? And so Sui has officially flipped Solana in total transactions, and the price of Sui has jumped 12%. As you can see here from the coinrepublic.com, I'm going to scroll down here. Sui's total transactions stood at 58.37 million. This figure is over 20 million more than Solana's total transactions, which came in at 35.41 million. This notable flip occurred between October 3rd and October 5th.
You think they pumping them numbers or what?
Maybe.
Because I don't know, man. I just don't see a lot of dApps and
Sui's been getting.
I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying, like, compared to Solana, I don't know. I see a lot of people. Maybe my algorithm on X is just tailored to Solana.
Well, I followed a few Sui accounts, and I started seeing more Sui stuff. So maybe, yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Well, here's the thing: just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening, right? Like, we know a lot of things are happening on Cardano, but the media outlets just don't report them, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So no, there it is. But what are some of the key drivers behind Sui's transactions serve? Well, analysis shows that the trigger behind Sui's price rise and daily transaction boost lies in several significant developments on the blockchain. These include Sui's new technology, institutional adoption, and meme coin explosion, something I talked about yesterday. Interestingly, Sui is beginning to attract institutional investors. This follows the launch of the Grayscale Sui Trust in August of 2024. We have Magic backstage, and I know Magic I think he can hear me, but so Magic, if you can hear me, we're going to do a Sui chart when Magic comes on the show, and I want to go back to August of 2024, and I want to see what price did, because if I remember correctly, Sui's price really started rallying around that time after Grayscale in August, Grayscale
just 2 months ago.
Yeah, after Grayscale announced the fund. A couple other things I have. So this is interesting as well. This is from Torero Romero. Damn it. There you go.
What was that? Torero
Romero.
You know, those Ferrero Rocher chocolates? So good.
Delicious.
Dude, every Christmas.
They're from Italy,
my mom knows.
Are they
mom
Italian?
knows.
I'm not trying to be funny. right? They're an Italian.
Yeah,
bank,
it's a
right?
30 minutes out of my town. Yes.
Dude, man, my mom knows, man.
Enough
She
to
always
take
puts
Secret
those
Service.
things every Christmas. I get that big ass box, and it's supposed to last like 3 weeks or whatever.
it can last
It's 20 minutes.
Yeah, I
man,
can
maybe.
tell.
And
So 27% of Solana's outflows shifted to Sui. As you can see here, all the money that flowed out of Solana, you see Sui garnered the most. Well, actually, I lied. Ethereum garnered the most at 60.3%. Sui came in second at 27%, followed by Base, BNB, Arbitrum, and Polygon. You also have this in regards to Sui. They have officially gotten a top stablecoin on their network, which is Circle. USDC is now live natively on
round
the
of
Sui network.
applause. Round of applause. There it is. Sui, congratulations. You got a stable coin.
This is,
Welcome to the club.
you say that like it's not a big deal.
It is a big deal.
That's
why I said it. Round of applause.
No, you're being facetious.
No, I'm not.
You're definitely
No,
being facetious.
No, I would never. No.
Yeah, you
facetious.
never with
No.
Robin, ever.
Hold on.
Robin
better
would
question.
never be facetious.
Let me
in his
ask.
comments.
Let me
Yes,
ask.
good.
Let me ask this.
Uh-huh.
Rocco, is it
Yeah.
hazelnut or hazelnut? How do you say it? I'm just curious.
I say hazelnut.
What the fuck?
I'm
kind
just
of
curious
question is
because
that?
Ferrero Rocher is made with hazelnut.
We're talking
and
about
so I was just
stablecoins.
curious if they say if it's
What is wrong with you?
hazelnut or because the French people say hazelnut, and then I don't know how Italian people say hazelnut. So
What does that have to do with the stablecoin?
I was just genuinely curious.
But
And
the
that couldn't
article
wait
is,
till after the show.
It was important, right?
That
was
couldn't
very
wait till after
important. The
show.
article
Okay.
is wrote by Ferrero Rocher, I guess.
Thanks, Robin. Wow.
Thank you.
Guys, now you know how to say hazelnut. Anyways, back to what you really want to learn about. So this is from the Circle X handle. Sui is a layer 1 blockchain designed for scalability, speed, and affordability, and the first using the Move programming language to support native USDC. So that is pretty big news. With that being said, let's bring on Magic Internet Money. Joins us every single Tuesday, gives all of us a clinic on how to break down charts. Magic, we're excited to have you back on the show, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's going on, guys?
I hope you got some value out of understanding how to pronounce hazelnut.
Is Americans pronounce a certain way, and people
Yeah.
people in different.
I have
countries
never
pronounce it
in my
differently.
35 years of life heard anyone say hazelnut.
That's how French people say hazelnut. I'm just letting you know. They also say coconut as well for coconut.
Coconut.
Yeah, because I worked for a French chef,
Coconut.
and he would always say les coconuts.
Le coconut.
Anyways, Magic, I would love to start with Sui.
Okay.
And, I mentioned August of this year when Grayscale launched their trust. And, a lot of the institutional adoption that has been coming in. And if I remember correctly, and, if you want to pull up the chart and show it, but Grayscale, Sui had the price started going up around that time. Is that correct? And then we can just jump into what Sui's price action is looking like right now. Because there's a lot of people, Magic, there's a lot of people who are starting to feel the FOMO of Sui, but it's like it hasn't really had a significant pullback. So people are afraid of buying the top. Well, what are you seeing on the chart as far as price action?
I think they should be rightfully scared to buy.
Okay.
But that's not a death sentence or anything. It's just I think they should be decisive. So let me show my chart, and I'll kind of tell you what I think. You said August 24th, right?
August of 2024. So not a specific date, but just a
August
month.
24th.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out why didn't
right
I get
here, this-
Tether?
Okay. Just
Huh?
don't listen to Robin. Okay.
Why am I looking at Tether?
No,
It
no,
was
No,
the
no, no,
first chart.
no. Sorry, I'm just
He's
inner monologue.
Oh.
Sorry.
yeah.
No, it's all good. So this is Binance. I did choose Tether because most people do trade in Tether, it seems like. So for altcoins, I generally will use USDT unless it's like an OG one that's USD, like ADA, for instance, is a good example. So that said, I've got a few things on the chart. Pivots obviously are here, and those do need to go away for just a second. We're going to come back to them. What I did was I just went and used the polyline tool. You can find it right over here. All you're doing is connecting the highs and lows. And the reason I want to do that is I want to see significant highs and lows on this. And you'd mentioned this one specifically. And I do think it's a very valuable one to look at because it does fit into what I'll be talking about. So I think that most of these, this one is probably the most important one, then this one, and then potentially here. I would ignore the all-time high for this and actually focus on this. And the reason we are is we're looking to see if we have any kind of convergence to say, would this necessarily be a top, at least intermittently? And if it is, and I'm looking for some place to not be buying at FOMO, where might that be at? And you've really reached it. I think you're at the breaking point of that. And if it breaks through this, you'll just see new highs and you'll be sidelined. But realistically, you do have a pattern at play here. And I'm going to pull up harmonictrader.com for anyone at home. It's a free website. And this is referred to as a crab pattern. And all this is a cluster of Fibonacci ratios and expansions that give you statistical likelihoods of reversals, whether it's to the upside or downside. So this is what it looks like. Again, harmonictrader.com. He's got free information on all of these, including videos that you can access. In this instance, you've got what would look like a reversal. So we have our most important points on the chart as being the X pivot, which is the start of the pattern, then your B pivot, things like that, right? So we know that these are key, including C and A. They're just not relevant to this, and D. So we've essentially reached the 361.8% expansion with an at least 161.8 expansion from X down to A, meaning that if we took the ratio of the beginning of this from here to here, and then we just expanded it to the upside like so, you can see that we would be running into a golden ratio right up here, a nice little zone of convergence. If you were to take B to C and do the same thing now and look for those more extended values that we just talked about, the 3618 specifically, you'll see that you have Fibonacci convergence, meaning that you have resistance here. It's very notable. So where should I be looking to get in this asset if I want to purchase again? It would probably be back towards the start of the pattern, meaning like a back test. The X and B pivot are both going to be very important here because that's where most of the consolidation did take place before you had extreme expansion. And these typically do occur towards the beginning and ends of moves because you get those extreme expansions to like, you're not getting 127%, you're getting 361.8% of this move down. So it's a very aggressive pattern and they typically allow you to start planning ahead. Now we move back into things that are a little bit more friendly, I guess, in terms of at least appearance. And we go to things like just the pivots. Again, we talk about these things every week almost. These are averages of price over a specific session. In this case, we are looking at the quarterly and the monthly. So this is your quarterly, meaning the 3-month average from the last session is coming in down here near where? The X pivot. Your monthly is just above that. This is your 2-week. Losing the 2-week would probably confirm this as a top. You would be losing this candle right here as well. So that is a good reference point to say, how will I know if I should be putting bids here with intent rather than hope? Well, if you start breaking down from here, you start confirming a top, right? You start confirming that this is a local top and you're going to revisit and establish support, which this is where you're going to start to establish that, in my opinion. So you would be looking down. If I was interested in buying this, it's trading it at 195. I'm going to be patient enough to wait for something like 145, maybe even 136. If it goes lower than that, it could go to 111, of course. But those are targets that you can talk about at a later date. But at least in the short term, if I was feeling the FOMO on this, but I didn't want to buy right here because I knew it was risky, I would be patient and probably just wait for these levels here between like 136 and 150. That would, to me, would start to look like at least an area for some kind of a range to start to form. And I'll get rid of these circles as it makes it a little hard to see the screen. But you can see that you were setting up shop here as well in terms of, if I get my browser to work, there we go. You can see that you're setting up shop here in terms of some kind of almost consolidation, like you got a couple wicks, confirmed it as support before moving in. It would make sense to come back to this both from an average standpoint and a pattern standpoint to get some kind of a reaction and trading opportunity. So that's what I have for SUI. I don't really have anything else on it. That was kind of it's a new one for me. They requested in the group, I think a few weeks back, we looked at it. But I don't really recall what we said. And I've got so many charts in different folders that I couldn't find it. So hopefully that was useful to somebody.
No, that was good. Go ahead, Rob.
Then Magic, I was just kind of curious on, we've been in this damn 60K range on Bitcoin for eternity, right? We first eclipsed $60,000 back in February. And, this thesis going on around the crypto space is that, hey, October, look at history. Is there more of this coming? Because, as each passing day, we're already past we're in week 2 of October. And yet again, here we are, 62,000. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. And so, I mean, honestly, I would rather have a sell-off than to just consolidate for another month. Like, I need some kind of action, you know? Smack me in the face one time, you know? I need something, man. Like, because I don't know, man. I mean, am I overthinking? Stop.
You said smack me in the face.
Am I overthinking it, or is this the calm before the storm? I mean, what do you say to somebody? You know, because I've heard this so many times, and so I'm kind of echoing what other people say. What do you say to anybody like, "Hey, man, Bitcoin ain't doing nothing, man. Like I'm falling out of interest in the markets right now for whatever reason."
You're falling out of love with Bitcoin?
No, not me.
No,
Not me. I'm just saying that some people, like, I'm trying to have like a good crypto conversation. They're like, "What's the price?" I'm like, 69. Like, still? Like, yeah. It's gonna rally though.
I got you. Let's revisit some things we've talked about on your show, actually. How about that? And I'll kind of that way your expectations match reality more if they're set properly. And I think that we can accomplish that today. So when we looked at Bitcoin, and you said if Bitcoin is going to reach, I think you proposed the question of 100K, or if I saw a top in the near future. And again, we're going back to the well of patterns here. And I said, if expansion were to occur, this is at the rate I think it would, and I would be expecting a top coming in towards probably the end of November, maybe the end of Q4. And that's just based off of, again, Fibonacci tools. This is the Fibonacci trend-based time tool. It's a 3-pivot tool, and all I've done is, for this to work, it's actually the exact same pattern we just looked at. It is a crab. So you have your gold pocket at B, you have your expansion to C, and then you want to see that 261 to 361% expansion, but you want to see confluence with the 161.8% from X to A. We just talked about that. I won't show you guys the, how it's built again, because we did it. So you understand what convergence means now. I think that's the proper term for it when you have Fibonacci convergence, where they converge, giving you a completion zone is how Scott describes it in his books. He's got 3 volumes out there. So in the instance that this were to occur, I'm expecting a similar length and impulse. And what you'll find, and I'll make it so you can actually see how I got these right here, and I'll get rid of this guy for just a second. I've taken the beginning of the pattern and I've measured the initial impulse, which gave us our really big swing point here. And then I've projected it off of our potential swing point of C, right? So if we were going to see C to D, we would expect there to be a similar horizon in time, or not horizon, but a similar length in time, because there's a lot of symmetry in markets, believe it or not. And so you would be looking at the earliest into November, from just like a weekly scale. And so, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense, but I'll take it a step further for you. I think you'll appreciate this. This is something I'm going to go over with the group tonight, but we've kind of been teasing some things on different time frames. And while I was messing with some of our tools to find the best way to utilize them, came across something else I thought was interesting. So I will share it with you guys as well in your audience, because I think that they'll like it. So if you go out to the quarterly chart, you guys will hear me say the quarterly chart all the time, because I like working off of this. Some of my very early videos that are still out there on TikTok were when we were at 64K, calling for us to have 2 really important zones between 58K and all the way down at 19 one day because of the quarterly chart. And we eventually did eclipse and hit 19K. And that was kind of the big deal for it. So I measure things, and I measure them based on averages. A lot of times you hear me throw that around. It doesn't really stop at horizontal levels. I do measure candles and consolidation percentages, and I get averages over time. Like, I exclude all this data because you have candles that are like 4,800% in some cases. So none of these candles are over 1,000%. And so it's the most uniform way to gather it. So to put things in perspective, the average candle, if you were measuring negative candles from the very top to the bottom and positive candles from the very bottom to the top, and then getting a collective average is between 67 and 72%. So you have multiple candles here that are well beneath that, outlier candles, so to speak, 25% and 37%. And then you have expansion of over 100%. So that would be right here. You could take it a step further and do that again. You could say, I have a 23% candle, right? I've got another one here, 90%. Okay, so we have another example of that. What you'll notice is that before these large expansions, both up or down, you run into 31%, now into 62, a doubling of price. you're running into the same thing where we are now. And a lot of times these are indicative of bottoms. So in 2019, when we bottomed at 3K, you had a 25% range, very small. That is almost a third of what the normal 90-day range would be. And then you saw a 239% expansion. So as we move through, you can see this time and time again. And I won't go through all of these examples because they're just going to show you the same thing. We'll move into today's price and you'll see what we have here. You'll see that this right here is a 22% range for 90 days. It's very small. And you'll see that we have one here at 41.39%. Not quite as small, not a true 50%, smaller than the average, but it is substantially lower. And so we've seen over history that we've never gone 2 90-day periods in a row with these outlier ranges being this tight before there was at least an expansion of 61 to 100%. So that should tell you what you need to know. Now, even when you saw those expansions, one thing that you'll find very interesting is that if I only showed the negative ones, the negative expansions, you never saw a negative candle expansion over the average, which is, again, 67 to 72%. The maximum you would see are things like 62 or right at 65 or 67. We've never seen an outlier expansion to the downside in this asset over 90 days at least. And that to me is very interesting. So, the probabilities say that a very large portion of the time, these do actually expand to those outlier values to the upside, meaning that whichever way this candle goes, I would expect to see probably, if it's to the downside, 50, 60% down. If it's to the upside, I expect 60 to 100% to the upside, which puts us in that 100K conversation. And so, this quarter is boring, but history tells us that it would be the first time in Bitcoin's history to ever have a consolidation this tight for 3 quarters in a row. You would expect to see something coming in. So if you're bored,
I'm sick of it.
I don't think you'll be bored. I don't think you'll be bored for much longer. I think math tells us, and trend, that we should expect a move, and I think rightfully so. So not to get too far into it and take up too much time, but hopefully that answers your question, Rob. That I get that you're sick of it and you're falling out of love with watching the same levels, but Bitcoin is a very, very simple chart. I'm going to turn my camera back off for a second, and the only reason it is because as long as we're above this box, because even if we revisited this area between 59,162 all the way down to 57,082, kind of a big zone, this to me is major support, and I would still be willing to bid this area. However, if lost, I'm going to be looking for that expansion to the downside that we talked about. And, if it's holding and price starts moving up through the range, especially getting back above like that 64,990 level on the 6-month chart, we've talked about that time and time again, then I'm going to look for that, 60+% expansion. And I'm going to be looking for that, crab pattern to complete at $91,000, I think is where it was.
What's that? What's that range there, price wise? The
57 to
57. I just feel like
Here, I'll pull it up.
Every time there's always like
it.
a big parabolic run, there's always like one last sell off, and so I'm like, maybe that's it, man. Maybe we go down, hit that, and then we take off. But
Magic, we had we did an exclusive interview with Mark Yusko for the Almanac, which it'll be available exclusively to everyone who buys an Almanac. You'll get the digital version. You get a link to the full video.
Pre-orders are going to be available in the near future. Yeah. We're setting that up, so it shouldn't be too much longer.
But he so intricately explained why the hell we've been chopping sideways, like kind of trending downwards over the last 9 months. And he compared it to something very similar that happened in the early 2000s. And why he thinks, is it going to be over? Is it going to continue? He talked about that in depth. So super excited for that. But before we let you go, Magic, I want to get back to Sui. And I also want to talk about Solana. And I want you to look at this chart, okay? On the left, you have Solana on the daily. This is back in 2021, the very beginning of 2021. And on the right is Sui. What I'm seeing here, Magic, is I'm seeing a lot of similarities. On the left here on Solana, I'm seeing price run up, make a high, come back, have a 30, 40% correction, create a new high, and then chop downwards, and then have a big move up. You look at Sui on the right, gets a new high, retraces about 30, 40%, makes a new high, and then trends down. Well, look where we are now. We had a massive move to the upside in Sui. To your left, we had a massive move to the upside in Solana. And look at where we are now with Sui. And I'll kind of zoom in here, where we're kind of chopping with a lot of wicks to the upside. Something similar we saw with Solana. This was back in August of 2021. And the Sui chart stops here. But if I zoom into the Solana chart, or if I zoom out on the Solana chart, that is where we saw our parabolic rally all the way up to $260. So do you like take anything away from comparing, because Solana and Sui, kind of the same premise, fast, scalable, retail chain, a lot of VC money. A lot of people are saying Sui is a new Solana of this cycle. Do you put any weight to that? What are your thoughts?
I don't know much about Sui other than what I've heard you guys say on the show. You know me, I'm fundamentally ignorant in a lot of these coins. It's not my strong point. But what I will say to add to your point there is, back in 2021 in August, Solana definitely had that setup and it did expand. If you look at what was going on in August of 2021, like you could go to any chart, Bitcoin was breaking out of its range that it had been in from May of 2020, May 19th, 2021, all the way until August. It was back testing about 37K before running to 69. So the commonality there that you want to see, in my opinion, will be that Bitcoin breaks to the upside here. And if it does, then I think these comparisons of Sui and Solana's chart are probably rightfully so. It probably will see similar types of price action if the hype stays there. So that's all I would say about that. Is I would just make sure you pair that with the old corn,
The old corn, the one Rob is sick and tired of. Right, Robin?
I don't have any corns, bro.
Oh, what are your, Halloween's coming around. What are your thoughts on candy corn?
It's disgusting, bro.
Disgusting? Magic, are you a fan of candy corn?
It depends on the mood. Sometimes I'll eat like a handful of it, but that's usually enough. I'm not going to binge eat candy corn.
The only way I'll eat candy corn is if I smoke too much pot and I am going down to my pantry and there's absolutely nothing else to eat. And the only damn thing there is candy corn, then sure, I will eat it. But outside of that.
Why is it even in your house? Like, first of all,
well,
as a man, you should make an executive decision. Be like, hey,
as a man,
I have corn syrup that has been concentrated into this blob of.
You are not a man if you have candy corn in your house. Robin said it. There you go. Just like you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe Biden. That's what he said. That's what he said. I didn't
pronounce
say
it.
I didn't say it.
Candy corn or candy corner?
Look, candy corn isn't candy. It's just sugar
It's
with food
disgusting.
coloring.
It's disgusting.
Sugar and food coloring. It's not candy.
I'll say this. I would eat candy corn over Whoppers because I think Whoppers taste like the
Whoppers
Great
are
Depression. They taste
disgusting.
like dirt.
Hold on.
Whoppers
are delicious,
got
bro. They're so good. They got malt goodness. They got the crunch. They got the chocolate outside. They come in a carton. Like, I mean, it's amazing.
Oh my God, the carton's really what sold me there, guys. Milk also comes in a carton. It's pretty crazy.
And I like milk too. Milk.
Wow. I can name a lot of things that come in cartons. Anyways, Magic, if people want more of you, where can they find you, my friend?
Generally, you can hit me up on Twitter. That's where I'm most responsive, or you can just join the Discord, guys. You can hit me up in the free section of it. Obviously, there's a paid, but the free section, if you post, will you please help me out with this chart? I'll help you out. I got no problem with that. So hop in and learn something.
And let me tell you guys something. I've known Magic for quite a while, and what he's saying is 100% accurate. There's been countless times where we've had to move his slot, or we've had to ask him to jump on or help us out, and he is always there willing to help. So Magic, to you, my friend, we always appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if you guys are not in the Crypto Hub Discord, I highly recommend you go join it. A lot of good stuff in there, and of course you got Magic and his business partner. We've had Max on the show a few times.
I need to get him back out of his shell. He's got great hair.
I was thinking more about his open interest charting, but yeah, I guess the hair. Oh, we're talking about Rob's hair?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, no, he's very talented in that arena as well. So.
Yeah, no, you guys make a great duo. Magic, thank you as always, brother. We appreciate you. And guys, we dropped the link of the Discord in the chat there, so click on it, go join. You won't be disappointed. Magic, we'll see you next week, brother. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks. I need the floor real quick.
No, you don't.
I need the floor. I need this.
That's not a floor. That's a desk.
Well, I can't stand up because the cameras don't pan up that high. Anyways,
you're not very tall, so you can stand.
Listen, why haven't you hit the like button? We have 250 people watching, 90 likes. That's like percentage-wise not enough. Not good at math. I'm just going to leave it there. But do us a favor, hit the like button.
It's never enough.
But we do got some new people here. So if you're new, you never said anything, just drop something in the chat. Just say hi or say hola, O-L-A. That's our slogan here. And I'll give you a personal shout out. We got Felix, Tony Rossetti, Bitfinities, Symphony, Tattoo Mo, Team Salty, Shark Attack, Mooney Face, Aaron Knipes, T.Y. Fox, Mansa, to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Did you say Bitfinity?
Yeah. And
Is that the actual Bitfinity?
I don't know.
The layer
I know some
two
of the
for
people I
Bitcoin?
called out have been here before. But also shout out to Jose and Cheeks as well. And then, you know what? Let's incentivize.
Jose's cheeks, huh?
Jose's Cheeks, yeah. So let's incentivize YouTube to promote us, and they promote us with an active chat. So put Ola in the chat. We'd like to get a Ola train going.
Yeah.
So OLA, let's see how many people will respond with Ola. And let's see if we can get maybe 120, 150 messages. Most channels say, don't spam here. We say, go ahead, do that, please.
Nick said he's new. Hi. Hi,
And,
Nick.
also, we got Bullish Juice as well.
Ooh.
Got to drink.
I wonder
some
what
of that
bearish
Bullish
juice is.
Bearish Juice?
Yeah.
That's your dumbass. Every Friday, you're like, we're going lower.
Last Friday, I said we're going higher, and I was wrong. So I went lower, and I was also wrong.
You
Great.
know, somebody put a comment on one of our videos yesterday. Because, I try to reply to all the comments. They said, man, I've been making a killing counter trading your guys' thumbnails.
Props to you, my friend. Props to you. Inverse sensitive.
I can't even be mad at that. Look at all the Olas in there. Hey, make sure type Ola 3 times. All right.
We talk about how bad inflation's got, right? Well, this is, inflation has gotten so bad, and now takes 2 Karens to speak to a manager, and that's how you know the economy is in shambles right now, Robin. Is when we don't have just one, but 2 Karens. Have you ever met a baby Karen?
A baby Karen?
Yeah, like a baby named Karen. I have never.
No, it's an outdated.
This is my baby. Her name is Karen. No,
It's just an outdated name. Like, I don't know nobody.
but there's like 30-year-old Karens.
Yeah, because it's outdated. 30 years ago, Karen was a popular name. Now it's like, Khaleesi, and there's like
Khaleesi.
Yeah. What's the girl from Game of Thrones?
Khaleesi.
Is that whatever?
There's a lot of Mayas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just
Also a lot of Robins.
No,
A lot of
it's not.
female Robins. Yeah.
So the names are like nobody's calling their kids like Bridget anymore, or
Matilda.
Matilda,
Bethel.
Yeah. There's just some other names.
Okay, interesting. I don't know why that conversation happened, but
That
anyways,
was a good conversation.
that was a great conversation.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to iTrust Capital. Look at this, Robin. So you guys know,
By the way, we got iTrust.
we got an iTrust link. Yeah, if you use our iTrust link, get $100.
Real quick, we're not even paid for this at the moment. Not for this personal shout out, but honestly, if you're long term holding, I get it if you want to do the cold storage thing, but if you're trying to generate returns without the risk, iTrust is the way to go.
No, if you
man.
want to shelter from taxes.
Yeah, you shelter from taxes, but at the same time, long term hold. And I don't really know of any custodian that I would be comfortable locking away Bitcoin for more than 5 years.
Robin, my biggest, because nothing is risk free, right? So my big, and you can, if you look hard enough, you can find a potential con to everything, right? To Bitcoin, to like anything. My big thing with iTrust, this was months ago, was their custodian was Fortress, who was part of Prime. They're no longer using Fortress. They're using a federally regulated bank to custody your crypto. If you are looking to have your Bitcoin or crypto, or now you can even have meme coins, as you see here.
I'm sure
Pepe is not available on.
I'm sure most of y'all are long-term hodling, right? At least your Bitcoin and some of your alts. I have a hodl position. I'm sure a lot of y'all have like that retirement set aside. So why not generate some income by not paying taxes? Because essentially that's what you're doing, right?
Here's what you do. You set up a Roth IRA. You put in post-tax dollars, meaning the dollars have already been taxed. And then when you pull the money out, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. So if you make $1 million from crypto in your retirement portfolio, that is $1 million tax.
Capital gains are 28%, and they're
Under Kamala Harris.
might go
Might
up
go higher,
under
yeah.
certain administrations.
But I want to ask you, I think this is the first meme. Well, no, Doge, I think, was available. But Pepe, are we going to see a slew of meme coins? Can you imagine a retirement portfolio with just meme coins? With Pepe, Bonk. That'll be pretty interesting. But yeah, so if you're a DGen trader and you want to be a DGen for retirement, you can now buy Pepe from your iTrust retirement account. So big shout out to iTrust. As Rob mentioned, we do have a link there.
Also, Batman's mechanic said, P.S. Rob's gay. Is it because of Batman's car? Is he not paying the bill? Because, I don't know, man. I'm just confused.
Why would
on
you read
one.
that comment?
Just saying, man. A dude said it, and I'm just kind of going to just...
Well, do you want to address it?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right.
I'm hurt, man. I'm hurt.
Don't be hurt, man. I'm sure Batman's mechanic is busy working on Batman's car. I want to share this video. And this is from Jeff Kendrick of Standard Charter. This is, I believe he is the head of digital assets at Standard Charter, which is a large bank. And this is what he said about his outlook on Bitcoin.
Sent a report the last couple of days. I think we go to fresh all-time highs by the end of this year, no matter what happens in the US election. It would be relatively clear that a Trump presidency should be more positive, given he's been relatively constructive on Bitcoin in particular, but also the broader digital asset space over the last couple of years. So in his victory scenario, I predict we go to 125,000 for Bitcoin by the end of this year. In the Harris scenario, again, I think we do go higher, but to about 75,000 by the end of this year. And that's because Harris is definitely not President Biden. So President Biden has been quite negative on the sector the last few years. Earlier this year, in May, President Biden vetoed the SAB 121 repeal bill that had passed through the House and the Senate. So I think now that the sector has become politicized, if you like, it'll be very difficult for a then President Harris to a similar repeal to what President Biden has done. So again, a somewhat positive story, but a much more positive outcome in a President Trump 2.0. He sent a report the last couple of days.
Just real quick. I mean,
I think it's spot on.
125K by the end of the year.
I think regardless of who the president is, Bitcoin is going to accumulate price because of supply and demand. I think that if you make it easier for U.S.-based companies to operate, and especially if you, from a country's perspective, buy Bitcoin. I know a lot of it is, hey, hodl what we have, don't sell what we have. We started the show off with, hey, what is the U.S. going to do with this Bitcoin? Are they going to sell it? First of all, I guess step one would be to hold what we have. But if we go into a position where, hey, someone wins the election, they're like, hey, we're buying Bitcoin. Like, we're physically going to purchase it, not sell what we have from the world's largest economy, trillions and trillions of dollars, and we know that a couple billion dollars at a time at a buy, or hundreds of billions of dollars, whatever that number would be, would really shock the markets to the upside. And so 125,000 by the end of the year, I absolutely agree if Trump wins. And regardless, I think that even if Kamala wins, I don't see it as a doomsday scenario for crypto. I just do think that we do get suppressed prices because you're excluding the world's largest economy.
HBO documentary comes out today.
Yeah.
Polymarket, there's I think $100 million worth of bets on who Satoshi's going to be.
Bro,
we'll bet on anything, dude. We'll bet on his Rob. Never mind. But I want to address one thing. Mustard Beard said, was putting money in Sui a bad idea today since it's dropping heavily? My advice always is this, right?
Time horizon.
Well, no. Well, that obviously. But my advice is always this. If you're trying to get on a train, would you try to jump on the train when it's going 100 miles an hour, or would you wait for it to get to its next stop, right? No train goes on forever. Has come to a stop. Same thing with crypto. If price is rallying 15, 20% a day, 10% a day, that train is moving 100 miles an hour. It will come to a stop. There will be distribution. And so that is when you want to get in. But if you got in towards the top and you've done your research and you believe in Sui long-term, I personally think you'll make your money. I don't think Sui's going anywhere. Obviously, the best thing to do would be to wait, but yeah. I want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by Legacy Network and their Legacy Academy app, which has been live. And their LGCT token is currently live in the app as well. You can earn those by doing the modules, taking quizzes. It's fun, it's exciting, you learn, and you can earn their LGCT token, which is going live very soon, available on Apple and Android. These guys are amazing. The amount of money they poured into that damn app, and it shows because the app is phenomenal. These guys are the real deal. So big thank you. We're proud to have Legacy Academy on as a sponsor of the channel. And with that being said, my friends, we are done for today's show. If you haven't seen our ICP video, we did one yesterday. Make sure to go check it out. And if you don't want to check it out, well, then we'll see you back here tomorrow. Rocco, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We hope you had a great time watching us debate on how to say hazelnut or hazelnut. Come back tomorrow for more phonetics or what is it? Phonics? Yeah, Hooked on Phonics. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.